Hello all, Dr. Alsop here, and we have a fairly short overview of the veins we want you to be able to identify in the parotid and submandibular triangle session. So let's get right into it. The first vein we are going to discuss is really more of a review. So let's actually take this opportunity to test yourself. Before I get into it, I want you to try to identify here the superior thyroid vein. Which one of these, in this whole complex area, which one of these is the superior thyroid vein? Pause the video if you need to. Alright, I bet you got it right, but just in case, let's review. Here, of course, is your thyroid gland. So, the vein that is going to supply the superiormost portion of the thyroid gland will be your superior thyroid vein. And the icing on the cake, and what's going to really help you in terms of identification, is you can see it going all the way over here to drain into your IJV, or your internal jugular vein. And you know that's your internal jugular vein. It is running within that carotid sheath region. There is your common carotid artery. So all things point towards this being your superior thyroid vein. It's always nice to take these breaks, particularly in these review areas, and see if you're able to identify some of these structures. It gives you an indication if you have something down pat and you don't need to spend too much more time on it, or if it's an area for further review. So take the time to do these every once in a while. Alright, let's move into some newer areas. We are going to focus on this lateral view. And I want to note right around this region that a good amount of the parotid gland, all the parotid gland right here, has been removed, as well as most of the inferior facial nerve branches, so we can really allow for a better view of the veins in this region, as the retromandibular vein is in an intermediate position to the more superficial facial nerve and branches, as well as the deeper external carotid artery. So we're really focusing on this region right here. The retromandibular vein is going to be formed by the coalescence of the superficial temporal vein, which is right here, and the maxillary vein, which you can see right here. You can only see a little bit of each. The superficial temporal vein will extend. It will be up in this region, will drain down to here. It will meet up with the short maxillary vein to form the relatively short retromandibular vein. So this maxillary vein is going to be short as well. It's formed by the coalescence of numerous veins of the pterygoid plexus, and we'll see that in a bit more detail when we get into the infratemporal fossa. Like I mentioned, the retromandibular vein is typically very short as well. It is particularly small on this dissection, so it's only this small area right here before it divides into its anterior and posterior divisions. You don't always have an anterior and posterior division in all individuals, so there is a lot of variability there. The anterior division will typically unite with the facial vein. So this is your facial vein here. And I know that this is the facial vein because it's running along the base of the mandible. It's superficial to the masseter muscle, which you can see here, and it is running near the facial artery. So this facial vein with that anterior division of the retromandibular vein will drain into the internal jugular. The posterior division, which I am outlining right here, will meet up with the posterior auricular vein to form the EJV. Do we remember what EJV stands for? It stands for the external jugular vein. And you know this is the external jugular vein because those two veins are forming it, but also because it is running superficial to the sternocleidomastoid muscle. So that wraps up the veins we need to cover for this session. Please take time to review on your own and let me know if there are still lingering questions after your review. Thank you for your time and attention, and please have a wonderful day.